So every city has a Ninth Street. You might be asking, Caleb, what do you mean by that? This is what I mean. Whenever the city has a Ninth Street, it usually means that with every developing city, there's always going to be a part of that city that's not developed, which can change health opportunities for people, even if it's a very small geographic boundary. Though these like dividing lines are very obvious or aren't always intentional, but they still shape people's lives and health. I want to talk about my hometown of Zionsville. The dividing line is less about one specific street but it's more about the town's planning philosophy and boundaries. Zionsville has intentionally worked to preserve a small town aesthetic, unlike Carmel, which is growing in numbers. It has resisted dense development, large commercial expansion, and urban style growth, I would say, because most of the time in Carmel, they're mostly expanding from the downtown. It's starting to look like a small city, but every time I go back to my home, it's just the same rural aesthetic I've seen since I moved there in 2014. On the side of of this boundary with Zionsville itself, residents everyone in there get good access to healthcare services. There's a lot of green space, lower pollution, I would say. And I feel like they created such a physical environment that supports mental well-being. Because every time I'm there, I feel safe because Zionsville is one of the safest towns considered one of the safest towns in America. And one of the best places to retire as well. However, that same commitment to preserving a rural character can also create a different kind of Ninth Street, I would say. Limited development can really restrict affordable housing, reduce public transportation, and make access to services more dependent on car ownership. Just as Zionsville's borders, nearby communities like south of Indy may lack the same level of investment, infrastructure, and political influence. Even though they are geographically, very close to each other, you literally just drive down the road. This creates like a subtle but powerful divide where access to healthy living is shaped by not only by income, but by zoning, land decisions, and usually who's part of the community, who's strong in that community, who is very influential in that community. What makes this especially relevant to health is that rural aesthetics don't automatically mean equity. While Zionsville avoids some of the issues associated with urban density, not being like Carmel at all, the lack of mixed income housing and limited public transit can unintentionally exclude lower income workers such as service workers, educators, or healthcare staff who support the community that cannot afford to live there. Because I'm telling you right now, Zionsville is one of the most expensive towns to live in. It is very expensive to live there. Even the apartments are close to $1,700 a month, and not a lot of people can afford that. They may, but they might be on a tight budget, I mean. And with a tight budget, they can't really spend that much on healthcare coverages or trips to the doctor. In terms of addressing health disparities nationally, I think the most promising approaches are that balance community identity with inclusion. We're getting some things right by recognizing social determinants of health and by investing in community health centers, preventative care, and partnerships between healthcare systems and local organizations. What works best are programs that meet people where they are, whether through mobile clients or school-based health services or transportation support, while also pushing for long-term policy changes in housing, zoning, and environmental planning. To me, the lesson from Unnatural Causes is that every Ninth Street looks different, and I'm reading off a script. This is so fucking fake.